Welcome to the entertainment session of the ITEXPO. We welcome you to the CPaaS Showcase Challenge. I don't know if you were aware of it before you came, but this is actually American Idol for telco heads. So we're going to have a little fun here. You're actually all going to be participating as part of this session. It's not just some slideware here. So let me start off and just give you a little background on CPaaS and then what we're going to be doing today here for our session. So for some of you that may be new to the term CPaaS, it stands for Communications Platform as a Service. The easiest way to think about how CPaaS gets used, has anybody had some money wired or put in their account recently and got a text message? That's a CPaaS. It's never as much as I want it to be, but I'm happy to get the text when it comes in. If you've called your Uber driver, that's number masking and that comes through a CPaaS. So you're going to see today even some much more advanced use cases around what CPaaS does. It is a huge market. We're at about a $15 billion market. If you look at the numbers from last year, and we're expecting that to grow to $30 billion over the next 4 years. So for those of you sitting here today and watching online, this is your opportunity. It's knocking. There's going to be a ton of growth here that you can come and participate in. And I think what's interesting is where the growth is going to come. It's been typically a developer type of situation where you use APIs and drive some use cases. I call that CPaaS 1.0. We're currently in 2.0 where we're seeing large enterprises now consume CPaaS type services. But where the growth is going to come is in what I call CPaaS 3.0, which is really a focus on the SMB. And so what you're going to see today are easier to consume applications that a small business could also easily use. There's going to be a ton of growth in that area. We're also seeing a lot of growth in vendors that are bringing this type of technology to market. There used to be 2 of us. Nowadays, there's probably closer to 20 that provide CPaaS-based technology and bring that to market as an enabling technology. You're going to meet 3 or 4 of those today. And so it's an exciting part of the telecom industry. And we're excited to show you what's happening out there and what these cool applications are going to be. My name is Kevin Nethercott. I'm the managing partner of the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance. We created this alliance back in October with the goal of really educating, first of all, the market out there that CPaaS and what it is. And what we're doing is building a community where we're bringing in vendors that work with CPaaS and service providers that would like to sell and take CPaaS services to market. As part of our alliance, we also have partnerships with most of the analyst groups that are out there, as well as a number of media partners, which are actually streaming this session live across their platforms. And so, as the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance, we bring members in and help them drive value for their business through commercial services. So we're less about the tech and the standards and more about really driving business for all of our members. And so we'd love to have anyone that's interested follow up with me and we can help you join the alliance and really start getting these new applications and use cases out there to drive the margins that we're looking to for our businesses. So everybody take out your phone. This is a participation session. So I want to thank our partners Gamify at gogamify.com. They've created an application that's going to allow you in the audience to actually vote for your favorite presenter. So if you take this, you should be able to access a web app that will then give you a drop down to access the 4 different contestants. Then within the 4 different contestants, I'll share with you the categories that you'll be judging them on. So for those of you that are online and watching, if you're not able to grab it here off the screen, it's on our website at cpaasaa.com or on our LinkedIn posts. And so you should be able to gather that QR code there. Our contestants today come from Crescendo, and we've got Trent, who will be presenting for Crescendo. We have Iotum, and Dora Bloom and her colleague will be giving us some pretty cool stuff on the video side. We've got Haitham and SpeechLogix, and Vinix, who is actually a local CPaaS player here in Fort Lauderdale. And so they'll be sharing with you in just a moment their latest, greatest commercially available technology. We will be scoring them on 5 categories. We have innovation, ease of deployment, integration, so think about APIs used, maybe connecting into Salesforce.com or some other third-party systems. Commercial relevance, so how easily could I go sell this? How could I take this to market? And then, of course, the overall presentation. So we appreciate all the work that they've done in preparing across these different categories. We think that these are the critical categories that a company and a product needs to have to be successful out in the market. We'd also like to thank our judges for joining us today. We have, working from your right to left, we've got Jeff Pulver that's joining us, that's been a pioneer in our space, and we appreciate him joining us. Jordan Rupar, who is a managing director at Q Advisors, representing the finance side. She's an investment banker, and she will have some very pointed questions, I'm sure, for our candidates here. Alan Percy joins us. He's the CMO at Telco Bridges. And then Robert, who is the recent CMO at IntelliPeer, one of the leading CPaaS players, and recently now helping us out at the Alliance. And we appreciate him being here as well. You can't have a contest without prizes. So there is some probably upwards of $10,000 worth of prizes on the line for these contestants. We'll have a package from the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance as a stakeholder workshop where we work with the executives teams to help them better prepare to take CPaaS to market. Q Advisors is offering a strategy advisory session, which will be super valuable as you look at it from their perspective. Evan Kirstel, one of our media partners, has offered up a media makeover, which I think would be really interesting because social media is such an important part of what we're trying to do. And then last but not least, Jeff has offered a free pass to his upcoming show in New York later in April. So it's exciting to have those as well. So our goal here is each contestant will take about 8 minutes to present and do a live demo. So everybody, say their prayers to the demo gods here that we can do 4 in a row with it working. And then please participate through the app and score each of them, as we will be doing as judges. And we'll be announcing the winners of this event later in the show with the TMC executive team. And so that's where you'll hear where the winners come from. So with that, Dora, your team is up.
Okay, all right. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody online. So we're here to talk about Iotum CPaaS solution, in particular our video API. We are second on that list, so just so you guys know who to vote for. So as Kevin mentioned, in the next 8 minutes, we're going to outline the commercial relevance of our video API, how easy it is to deploy and implement, and why it's innovative. So we have a video API that can be easily embedded into existing applications or websites so that you can optimize your offering. With our easy-to-use developer guide, you can actually be up and running in just a few minutes. This is already on our website. To show the commercial relevance, we're actually going to show some real live examples of customers that we have, and then we'll do a live demo.
Yep, and one of the premier use cases these days is healthcare, obviously, and telehealth tools. We already have existing telehealth providers embedding our solution into their platform. We just can't disclose the names or logos of those companies, so we've kind of put up a fictionalized example of a mental health therapist having a session with her patients. The Iotum video can be optimized using the a variety of tools we have, as well as video to give the customers and the patients the best experience possible.
So the next example that we have here is MaxLife. So MaxLife equips ambulances with life-saving technology, and they power their telehealth communication solution with our video. So they have multiple cameras within the ambulances, and a doctor can actually dial into those ambulances with just the click of a button, and they're actually able to provide life-saving advice to the paramedics. This is especially useful with stroke units because time is of the essence, and it's a really great example of how they're using our technology.
And aside from telehealth, we have great partners. Some of them here today with us are wonderfulpartnerphone.com that take our video solution and embed it into their offering with their branding so they can offer it seamlessly with their PBX solution. We do white label with many MSPs, VARs, and PBX providers, and they can take either pieces of the UCaaS solution or the entire one and offer it as their own. There's quite a few other use cases, too many for these 8 minutes that we have, but just to kind of go over them, government, remote field services, education, customer experience, gaming, entertainment, and many, many more.
So we're gonna move on to the live demo now. How many people have played poker online before? Okay, so quite a few in the audience, that's great. So we have our partners here, World Poker Tour, Captive Play, and they've taken our video strip and embedded it into their existing solution, online poker, and so that the different players can interact simulating a live game. So we're gonna show you that really quick. Let me just hop over here. I've already got a game open here. Just full screen that. Let me just, I'm gonna plug in this so we can get some sound here. And I'm gonna unmute myself. Hey, Michael. Oh, we're not getting sound. Oh, you know what? I gotta turn up my volume, I think. Go ahead.
Hello, ITEXPO.
So that's our VP of sales. He's at home in Toronto. You can see how easy it is. So they've actually just taken our video application, they've embedded it into their existing application, and that's what that strip is right there at the bottom. So let me just hop back over here. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the ease of deployment. How easy is this to deploy? So once we've set up your domain and we've whitelisted your application or website, we have 3 ways that you can actually embed this into your application. And it depends on how deep you actually want it within your website or application. So the first way is very easy. I'm not a developer. I'm going to show you it live right now. And it's just a small piece of code, HTML. It's an iframe. It's right there on the screen. So I'm just going to exit here. I'm going to copy it here. And I'm going to hop. I can use my hand. There we go. And I'm going to hop over. I just have a WordPress page. It's Iotum WordPress. It's just a blank page. I'm just going to grab an HTML. Just a little block there, pop it in, and I'm gonna click there. And then once I hit update, you can see there, if I come over here, I'm gonna just do it off the web page here. I'm gonna exit that one. Just refresh the screen here. And there we are. So we actually have our COO on the line there. This is Noam. He's back at our offices in Toronto, and that's how easy it is to just embed it that quickly. Now that's a very top level way to embed it onto your website. We have a few other ways. There's 2 other ways, and they're both done normally by developers. So the first one would be you would load the SDK into using our scripts, using JavaScript. And this is really good for websites. And then the second way, we have a whole toolkit SDK where you can completely interact with our environment, and you can install this package, and this is really good for applications. And I have a slide here. I'm just gonna leave Noam there, and he'll be able to answer any technical questions afterwards. So you can see here we have the webhooks, we have REST APIs, and then we also have the SDK. integrations. I know that's one of the things that you guys are going to be judging on. So we integrate with a number of different applications, but one thing to keep in mind is that this is really easy to really integrate with any application, especially because of all the different ways that you can embed the video and the entire toolkit.
Yep, and just a couple ways that we're innovative and what makes us a little bit different. Well, as Dora just showed you, this is extremely plug and play. The APIs are simple to implement. Developers love us because they can just put it in and it works. Our security, obviously a huge priority with telehealth, as we mentioned. So we are HIPAA and GDPR compliant. We are soon to be SOC 2 compliant. Our connections are 128-bit encrypted, and we have data sovereignty in many countries. There's a large suite of features available that you can scale up or down with APIs, webhooks, and the simple-to-use SDKs that we provide. But I think most importantly is that we are a full white label solution. You can put your branding on it, package it as your own. Nobody will ever peel back the layers and see that it's Iotum behind there at all. The solution also lends itself very well to a parent-child relationship. So if you've got sub-accounts, resellers, you can certainly set them up to do the same thing as you.
Great, and that's it. Moving on to questions now.
First off, thank you guys for a great presentation.
Thanks, Jordan.
I think what sticks out to me the most is the vertical approach. I really like how you guys kicked off the presentation, starting with a high compliance, privacy, regulatory driven vertical like healthcare. And my initial question was going to be, how many off-the-shelf integrations do you guys have with other vertical focused applications? Maybe healthcare is a good example, but are there any kind of CRMs or ERPs, things like that, where it kind of reinforces the vertical approach? And again, healthcare would be a great thing to use, but anything there to be aware of?
Education, we've got quite a number of integrations that we can, that we go forward with. But I would say, obviously, healthcare, education, gaming, as you've seen, entertainment, sales enablement tools, just to name a few. I don't know the exact number, but.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and then with the vertical, going back to healthcare, I really like how the white label element kind of ties into that. I think what we're seeing from an MSP side, in terms of your customers potentially, is a lot of vertical driven strategies. So I think healthcare would be one where I could see a healthcare focused MSP use this tool. And I like the ease of use. Really anybody can implement it, which is pretty awesome. Even I think I can if I just know how to copy and paste, Dora. But overall, I think this was great, innovative, and I like the positioning of the product. So great job, both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else? No?
So,
Just a more holistic question for you. What is your company's Dharma? What is your intention? What is your purpose? Why are you here? What are you looking to do with what's out in the market, and how are you making a difference with it?
Oh, thanks. Well, is it working?
I might add that I'm one of the original investors in Iotum, so I'm trying to understand. I understood what they were doing when they were founded. I just spoke to Howard Thor right before the session started, who's one of the co-founders. And the company is a lot different genetically than it was when I know it to be. So I'm just curious, what do you consider your Dharma? What is your purpose? What are you doing these days compared to, I know what you guys used to do. So I'm just trying to understand and reset myself and understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So let me set the stage here for those of you that haven't heard of us. We've been around for quite some time. We started off, we actually own freeconference.com, if that rings a bell. So that's probably how you know us, is from pre-conference. And the video market has really, it grew quite a bit over the pandemic. Technology is changing.
I guess what I'm looking at is, what do you consider successful? Like when you look at the end of the day, when you go home to say, I had a good day, my company's doing well, what metrics are you using to judge where you're at, to have an indicator of where you're coming from. Because technology at some point becomes ubiquitous. I am positive everybody here who's about to present has amazing, great solutions. But I'm someone who believes that life is all about energy, vibration, and frequency. So I'm trying to understand, where do you tune into when you present your company, and who's an ideal customer for yours? And when you're looking to grow your business, ideally outside the sectors that you can't talk about, because I appreciate the NDAs you have, like how do you, what do you look at?
Yeah, so obviously growth is a big part of being successful. So two of the industries that we're really trying to tap in, and we talked about them today, is the healthcare overall, and that's why we've completed the HIPAA compliance, and we're working on the SOC 2 compliance now, and being able to scale there, and being able to reach those remote communities, making your technology making a difference is really important at the end of the day, right? If you just have a piece of technology that just
Right.
makes money, that's great, but making a difference that's important. And then the other industry is that those MSP, PBX, value-added resellers, we're really working with a lot of them, and that's so that they can get it out there and they can make a difference with our product as well. So that's, at the end of the day, a good customer and somebody who is going to give back to the community and change the world. That's what's important on a large scale. But getting business, making profit, that's important too.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dora.
Thank you.
Okay, did everybody score it on your app? Make sure you make that. And we'll turn the time over now to SpeechLogix for our next presentation.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. So SpeechLogix has been, focusing a lot on enabling service providers and MSPs to own their own destiny when it comes to UCaaS and CCaaS. So we have been focusing since 2018 to build a platform where they could really leverage the technologies out there and add innovations on the top. So we are a web scale platform. So SpeechLogix has been deploying modules for on-premise customers since 2004, very successfully. And we have scaled, thousands of extensions, let's say, on a lot of mission-critical customers or enterprises like governments and whatnot, healthcare, education. What happened in 2018, we decided to pre-integrate all of these modules and throw it into the cloud. And what did we do is that we added the UCaaS, CCaaS, plus all the innovations on the top, where we added also the migration from the legacy solutions, let's say, over in their deployments within the service providers to boost their revenues and move those enterprises to their own cloud. So, sub-trunking, extensions, even scaling to the millions of concurrent users, the soft switch, migration, the pods, infrastructure replacement, some embedded PBX functionalities with the 4G and 5G, the full branding from end to end, from the web conferencing all the way to the soft phone, the UCaaS, and the end user, and the omni-channels as well with the CCaaS. There's a lot of opportunities there for service providers where they could actually boost even, and not becoming only a dumb pipe, they could actually boost that and add more on the top. Our focus really is to have those service providers excel and add into their portfolio a lot of products within one platform. So that what we do here, and again, I wanted to tackle some of the second slide that I have, a lot of opportunities where we believe that service providers would be able to add even more flexibility into their portfolio. What we do, we have that, because thanks to that pre-integration that we have done, and those also soft phones and whatnot, we have done an opportunity where service providers can actually launch their UCaaS and CCaaS platforms within within 7 weeks. So within 7 weeks, they could actually, tune in. If their infrastructure is ready, we are ready. We will deploy it and add it to their platforms and become a full UCaaS, CCaaS. So that's that. Maybe I've repeated this multiple times, but I believe with the high functions that we have even built-in SBCs. We have built-in proxies where we will able to even leverage that infrastructure that they have done. Today, they have been talking about POTS replacement, where what if the infrastructure of the service providers got flooded from a hurricane or whatnot, then they still can serve those enterprises with their legacy equipment using the 4G, 5G networks. So we're delivering those POTS analog lines into those applications over their 5G or cellular network. Without overdue, I think what I would like to show is the use case, the demo or the showcase. What my showcase is going to be very simple. We are logging into a live deployment in the Middle East, where we're having a full UCaaS, CCaaS platform. And what I wanted to show here is to log in, which is very simple. An agent in the left side. This is the agent that has fully deployed. It's Zain Group. And it's been deployed locally in their data centers in Saudi Arabia, where we have the one login that, when I click ready, so the agent is now ready. And a phone call could be generated from someone in Saudi. So we're making a local call, and we are also presenting an omni-channel. So with these agents, the agent soft phone is already deployed in the iPad. So I'm physically here in the US, but the call is received in Saudi. And when that call is done, we will have all the transcription, all the translation, all the call records, but we're not going to show it now because of the short of time. And there's a lot of opportunities where even the chat GPT, we have been also able to integrate to our API if that operator wants to deploy it. So there's a lot of opportunities where the service provider can be innovative. They can add more on their platform. Google or GCP machine learning AIs are able to also do any kind of deployments and use cases. So on the right side, that's the supervisor login or portal, and a phone call will come right now from Saudi. So let me ping my colleague there and see if he can make the call. And the chat. So we're let me text him and say he has to make the call. I hope he's not sleeping. Different time zone, it's 11 p.m. there, so. Yeah, I mean, the call is here, so sorry for that. So the call is here. This is the customer details. It's already received. It's very simple. And I answered the call from the iPad here. So I don't have to show, if that the voice call. I mean,
Hello.
yeah, it's in here. So the call is here. He can hear me. And what I wanted to show is that the omni-channel piece. So can you text me? So now if they're with the WhatsApp. So these are the omni-channel. This is the agent login. If you want to click on WhatsApp, so now Kevin just texted me. Yeah, so Kevin, you're here, and I can, me as an agent, I can get that conversation, and then, hello, Kevin. I can get that, and then I'm starting to talk to him. So you got that. So again, it's very simple. We're not reinventing the wheel at all. What we're trying to do here is that we're enabling operators, service providers to boost their revenue. The WhatsApp by itself is very, money generating, if you will. If they can, we are enabling service providers to become a B2B2B. So we're providing those solutions to service providers and to their customers so they can actually compete with this, with Zoom and RingCentral and others. With that, I think let me end my showcase, and sorry for that gap that happened. So thank you very much.
All right.
So some questions as we're swapping out presenters. Which markets are you going after with this solution?
Actually global.
Okay.
So we have global presence. We are a global partner of, Zoom and others to be able to have their SDK embedded into our platform. That was the only platform that we have. You want to have the mic so he can come over? We're more than happy to show that, sorry. Hello. So we're more than happy to cover all the markets because what we do here is we're enabling service providers to compete in their own markets. We're making them successful. So if I do want to, deploy a platform where I can go and compete with the service provider in the same market, that's why we don't have a direct model. Our direct model is only service providers.
And how are service providers innovating on top of this platform today?
Good question. So what we are doing here is that our platform is open. We have open APIs, and they can innovate the way they want it. For example, the 4G, 5G POTS infrastructure replacement was a demand. Like, it's a big demand everywhere. There's a lot of applications like security cameras and fax machines and some others that the pods are not going away soon. So these kind of things, we just enable them to have that solution on the top. I know it's not something that is the millennials are looking after, but this is a problem, and it's a big money generating for service providers. Not only that, so there's also the scaling. One of the innovations that we have done is the scalability. We are deploying Dockers, methodology into us, which means we support that scaling from thousands of users to millions. So that's something also, I would call it innovation and easier or commercial efficiency, I would say.
And last question is, as you're bringing this to the service providers, are you also holding their hands on how to sell this and how to penetrate the market?
Absolutely. So because of our expertise in this space, within the 7 weeks, or let's say the 2 months of deployment with the service providers, we usually sit down with them, scope what they want to achieve. At the same time, part of that is how to go to market, and together they can come up with specific packages, and we help them how to market those packages to their own customers. So we make them successful as much as we can.
Okay. So I got to make a comment, not all questions. So comments would be, as we think about CPaaS 2.0 and CPaaS 3.0, the things that really catch my eye are the multi-channel, omni-channel pieces up there. Would love to see a demonstration of the AI and ML pieces if those are working.
Absolutely.
And it was great to see WhatsApp actually working, because
we have deployed it 3 years ago in our deployment. In our showcase, when we started to get service providers interested, we deployed the GCP machine learning, transcription, translation, NLP. We have done a quick mock-up on the chat GPT. Everything works. All what we need to do is connect to APIs, and it works. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Mark Diaz from Vinix. Give us the local flavor.
I'm the CEO and founder of Vinix. We are a services provider built on a platform called Kazoo. And that is created and built by 2600 Hertz. Oh, your phone? There you go. 2600 Hertz has been in the game a long, long time. And they built a platform that initially started off named Whistle and later became Kazoo. It is an API-first communications platform. So back in 2008, 2009, when the concept was being created and it started building, before any UI was even thought about, CPaaS was the initial forerunner of what needed to be done there, right? We saw the future back then. We knew that in a commoditized space, it's about building things for customers. It's not about being another Me Too. But we do everything that everybody else does, right? So we're not going to go over all that. We provide all the UCaaS, CPaaS, CCaaS, right? All the things that you would expect from an enterprise telephony solution in the cloud, replicating across the continents and all that fun stuff. But one of the things that we do, again, is we go back to a CPaaS first methodology where regardless of the size of the customer, as Kevin was articulating earlier, the customer wants to be able to build things that are custom to help them conduct business and make things work for them. They need a solution for them. They don't need an out-of-the-box solution that just abstract works for everybody. I could take two medical offices or two healthcare facilities, and they do business very differently, whether it's HCA Healthcare or whether it's MD Now or whether it's Seda Health or Florida Foot and Ankle. Now I'm just, I'm flexing up here now. They all do things differently, even though they're all in healthcare. And they want those CPaaS, I'm missing the words here. They want those CPaaS, that CPaaS ability to be able to tie into things. Particularly when COVID hit, we got a lot of demand for that. Things about tying into Power BI, tying into their appointment scheduling, all kinds of fun stuff. And it's just not healthcare, it's every industry. So what happens in an industry that explodes? There's 50,000 people out there that do the same thing. But over time, being able to build solutions for customers is really what drives the industry forward. And the people that can't build along with it, they just get left behind. So we all have best-in-class service. We have enterprise features. We have video, voice conferencing, and omni-channel collaboration. Or I hope you should by this point, because if you don't, you better hit the gas. But the truth of the matter is that it seems that some companies are a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to CPaaS, and we still never understood that. CPaaS is absolutely critical in expanding into the future of communications and business solutions as a whole. Businesses don't want your solutions for them. They want to be able to build a solution that works for them. And as Kevin articulated earlier in the beginning, it was a lot of development that needed to be done. You need to be a hacker, coder, a senior engineer. Then, API 2 is coming around, and it's a bit easier now. You can copy and paste JavaScript lines and get them into a website or get them into your solution and get up and running much quicker. And it's awesome. Like Kevin said earlier, API version 3, so to speak, is going to be a lot more low-code / no-code. It's particularly for SMBs that don't have developers or expensive engineers to get them off the ground and get running. But CPaaS is extremely important in any solution that you're offering to your customer, because at the end of the day, they're going to want to expand and to build things that work to make their business processes and workflows efficient and productive. At the end of the day, we run a tight rope between novelty and efficiency for businesses and their workflows. And we can build really cool things that are really novel and I can go tell all my friends about, but if it really doesn't help businesses be productive, save costs, they don't care, right? One of the things that we got a lot of feedback from in the call center space as we do CCaaS is that there was a lot of inefficiency, particularly in note-taking. They get on the phone, they talk a lot with different customers about scheduling appointments, scheduling feedback, getting some sort of response back from sales, whatever it may be. And they take a lot of notes. Sometimes there's a recovery time after those agents hang up just to make sure they can put in and articulate all those notes. And they're not going to ask the customer, can you please repeat that? Let me just write that down. Let me take notes. They're trying to do the best they can by hearing a customer at the same time while they're putting notes into a system. That's not very effective. And I don't know many human beings that can really listen and try to type at the same time. I mean, I know that it can be done. I've seen some court reporters that are pretty wild in my day doing things with the court systems, but most people can't do that very effectively. So I don't know. I'm sure you guys all have the news. You guys have been paying attention. Chat GPT is all the rage. AI is all the rage. It's getting better and better by the minute. Another 5-10 years down the road, it'll be doing some truly amazing things. But it can do some pretty cool stuff now. A lot of modeling, sentiment analysis, natural language processing, things like that. So we really went crazy and built a solution that for call centers, particularly our outsourced call centers, that literally in real time listened to the conversation, applied speech language processing, sentiment analysis, and tried to create a summary and action item list based on that conversation that would spit out within seconds of ending the call. I don't have a live demo, unfortunately. You can ding me on my score if you'd like, but I could not get all the collaborators involved to do this because unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we get pretty busy and I didn't really have anybody to sit down and do this with, but I did get it recorded. And I'm going to play the recording for you just so you can get an understanding. We did a mock-up basically of a car services call center, but this could be applied to any industry, healthcare, insurance, legal, you name it, it's all there. And we leveraged all of the APIs that are expected today via REST from companies like Google, using Dialogflow and OpenAPI, et cetera. And we put all that together so that we can offer an effective and productive solution for those call centers. And here, I'm gonna let you see it in real time, or not real time, I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna let you see it in action. There it goes. So you get an inbound call coming in. This is the agent's portal. This is built on Comland, one of 2600 Hertz's unified communications portals, but it could be applied in any portal.
Hello, thank you for calling Grand Tour Cars. This is Ramin. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Ramin. This is Kristen. I'm interested in purchasing a car for my son. Can you help me with this?
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Can you please tell me what type of car you're interested in and what your budget is?
I really don't have make and model in mind, but I'm looking for a black sports car, and my budget is around $30,000.
So while they're talking for a second, you all have called plenty of call centers. You know they ask a lot of questions. They need to know who you are. They're looking for specific things. And each one of these solutions can be modeled to the industry that it represents. So in this particular case, this is the car services industry. Models can be built based on that so that the vertical can be strongly integrated with that vertical. If there's any kind of slang, if there's any kind of industry terms, things like that, it picks it up pretty quickly. So you could do the same thing with healthcare, et cetera.
Ooh, thanks for asking. I would love to do it, but could we actually make it for 4 o'clock instead?
Oh, absolutely. So see you tomorrow.
Oh, thanks again, Ramin. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, Kristen. Goodbye.
So you can see in the top right corner there, call summary request is being processed. And then another pop-up that says it's been done. And here you go as a summary, basically giving a raw description. Then you can sit there and connect to another CPaaS, whether, with CRMs, ERPs, et cetera. Stick it in there. Managers want to go in there and see what the journey of the customer experienced, how the call was processed, et cetera. You got it, it's gone, and you're good to go. CPaaS technologies, it's about creating successful solutions for customers. And as I said, I can get you 2 car dealerships that would love this, but they're going to do it in different ways. And it's about building it to suit their workflows and their business models, not your own. And that's where CPaaS really empowers us as service providers to really take advantage of that and grow with our industry. And as it says at the bottom there, this is just the beginning. It's just only an example of what we're cooking up. So 2600 Hertz is a services, they create platforms for service providers, where Vinix is a service provider. We are more of a sibling company with 2600 Hertz, as we use the same technology and we share core synergies and fundamentals, right? So I hope that was quick enough for you guys. And I'm open to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Awesome, great presentation. I think you explained it pretty well. I've got a couple questions for you. So give me a couple of key innovations that your platform offers that maybe somebody like Twilio or some of the other big guys might not offer.
So I can't say that I follow Twilio in their competitive analysis that closely, but I can tell you this much. Twilio is strictly a CPaaS solution. I'm going to flex again. One of our customers, HCA and Hair Club for Men, one of the reasons they went with us is because they had no interest in rebuilding the UCaaS portion of their solution. They wanted an out-of-the-box, ready-to-go solution for their UCaaS, but they wanted CPaaS to be able to tie into certain aspects like their internal in-house built CRMs, et cetera. So in this hybrid solution, we give them the best of both worlds. They don't have to go worry about rebuilding the standard UCaaS solutions that they would need for all of their clinics, but then they do have the ability to tie in to their in-house CRM using our CPaaS platform that's already built based fundamentally on the network.
Okay, great. So what's it take to get started? You know, not only to acquire access to the platform, but also what kind of training, what's it take to get going?
This particular platform or the platform as a whole?
Well, you know, the generic CPaaS platform. If I had an idea for an application and I wanted to build it on your...
You could be up in 60 seconds.
Okay. What kind of, so online sign up or... what?
Online sign up. All documentation is online. As we well know, REST APIs are very advanced these days. A lot of copy and paste. Yep. Swap out some variables and you're well on your way. Ordix, who's a company also based out of Fort Lauderdale, they're a point of sales company. Over a few glasses of scotch and a weekend, they were able to build an integration that they could take real-time events, WebSockets, pop in caller ID, look up in their CRM if somebody ordered a pizza for Sal's, et cetera. And they were up and running within a weekend.
Okay. And then I was kind of curious about, you know, the channels. You sell this direct then, or you work through channels?
Vinix sells it direct. Yeah. We also sell through channel. However, 2600 Hertz builds this for, frankly, our competitors, right? However, at the end of the day, it's not only about the tools, it's how you use them and how you engage. Like my experience has shown me that there's that fine line between novelty and real use cases. And it seems that there's a lot of disconnect there sometimes. And it's really about empathizing with your customer and finding out what their true needs are that will help them be more effective and efficient in their business workflows.
Okay, so Shark Tank question: what do you think makes you eligible to win this?
Good question. I'm way too humble to answer a question like that. Everybody's had some great solutions and great I was just yanking products.
Your toe. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
You did fine.
All right, thanks, Mark. All right, thanks, Mark. That was great. Next, we have Trent from Crescendo that's going to blow our minds with something. All right.
We'll give it a go. Give it a shot.
Are we good now? Okay, now I got something here. So I've been told that I should introduce myself a little bit different. I should use my middle initial. So you might have saw the billing earlier. It was Trent Dewey, right? So and it's probably Jason that came up with this was, you should start with Trent E. Dewey. Now, you can probably see where they're heading with that. And they did. So TED Talks by Crescendo. So they did it. That's marketing. And it's shameless. Look at that. It's super shameless. So welcome to TED Talks by Crescendo. So quick question. It's going to be very rhetorical. Who here has a smartphone? Mine has a tail, but who's got one of these, right? 99.99%. So telecom, we call that the 4 nines. The other 0.01%, they look like this. Jeff, you know where your phone's at? All right, Jeff's got his phone. So if you don't, it's probably back at the hotel, right? Or it's in the Uber. I'm sure you'll get it back. Probably not going to happen. So where I'm going with this is there are 7 billion smartphones today, right? And the take rate of those smartphones is about 86% of the world's population. That number is probably a little low because of babies, right? Babies, they don't have smartphones. So, they want yours, but so they're not ponying up for their own. So the most popular feature people use for their smartphone, sending and receiving messages. So we're interacting different than we used to 5, 10 years ago, right? So according to a survey, I won't read this to you, but we'll call it last year, 76% of smartphone users reported using their smartphone to chat and send messages. And the reason that number is a little low, because we all have at least 1 or 2 contacts that call us versus text, right? So, we get the phone that rings, we look down, and everybody then goes, and then you answer it, oh, hey, Mom. I'm just teasing, I don't do that to my mother. So I had a conversation where actually the kids were downstairs. I have teenagers, right? So I'm used to being ignored and things like that. So I heard some rustling downstairs. I went down there. That was the first mistake. I shouldn't have done that. So they've got this widget, right? Then they're arguing over how it works or it's broke or whatever it was. So what I did was like, well, why don't you just call the company, right? Seems normal to me. They looked at me with the huge eyes, right? So they're like, what? The terror, pure terror for them to call somebody to get something done. They looked at me like I had a horn growing out of my head. So what we need to do is start being aware of how people interact with each other, right? We need to get ahead of it. We're trying to get ahead of it, now. I mean, texting came out circa 2002 is really when that came popular. And we're just now starting to wedge it into contact centers. And to be honest with you, most of the time I see it, it's just a confirmation. It says, okay, I called you, here's your appointment, confirmed, those type of things. No true engagement, right? So we need to think about how to adopt that type of new interaction that we're seeing. And then find a solution that accomplishes that goal. So what I'm going to demonstrate today is basically Apple Messages for Business using the Crescendo NetSapiens CX platform, which is contact center, right? So the goal is to provide a type of interaction that lets customers easily obtain information and basically interact with a live agent in the event that they need to. All from the native mobile app, right? So nothing needs to be installed. The messaging app's already installed on 100% of those devices. So, which basically is overcoming the customer's already existing app fatigue. There's like 6 million apps now, I think is what it is. So let's get started with the demo. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the journey here. So the demo is based off the city of Persona. The city is fake, however, the screen or the pictures are real, courtesy of Tim O'Connor. Anybody guess what skyline this is? I'll help you guys out. So I'm from Kansas City. So Kansas City skyline, you may have heard of us. We've been in the news maybe the past couple of days. Now I'm gonna say this, I know we're on the East Coast, but any Chiefs fans here? One, just one. There's probably some online. I got you guys. All right, so what I'm going to do is show you the entry point. So the entry point on the screen is a QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my devices, and what I want you to think about while I switch this over is where you guys see QR codes. You see them, I saw it in my hotel. Scan this for the TV channel, scan this for this, scan this for that, right? We are getting a little bit of that, but we're actually going to encompass this in a single QR code, and I'll show you that. Also think about where QRs live. If you're a product manufacturer, it goes right there on the box. If it's on the website, like you see, printed material, those types of things. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my connection. And I'm also a little nervous because I don't see people in the boxes or the round holes anymore online. So, do this switch. And I'm also very brave to show my personal device up here on this screen. All right, so I'm going to grab my camera. Everybody kind of watch the screen here. So judges, real quick, say hi. Wave to the crowd. There we are. So let's go ahead and scan this QR code. You can see that it comes up messages. Now what I did was just scan that QR code and it took me to Apple Business Messages. That's one entry point. When you go through the onboarding process with Apple, you start, you'll be known on Siri. You can be found on Apple Maps. All kinds of different entry points. So what I'm going to do is start interacting. So we're leveraging chatbots and we're leveraging live agents. So I know the trigger. Here's our chat box. Go bots. I grew up in the 80s, so go bots is a thing. So what I'm going to do now is you're probably thinking if I click that little button right there, what it's going to do is send me off to a website. That's not what's going to happen. It's actually bringing up a list picker. So now as a customer, I can actually choose where I want to go next. Choose your own adventure. I call this kind of a visual auto attendant. Remember when auto attendants were the big thing? This is kind of the next gen here. So I'm going to start with Parks and Rec. And we'll get a delivery here. Always fun about live demos. So now what I'm going to do is, it's just a little bit more freeform. I'm going to ask for more keywords. So I'm going to type in events. And I knew that. Let's go back. Events. So here's my bots. They're starting to work now. So now it's pulling up, kind of a MMS message, if you will, rich text. What else can I help you with? So I'm going to type in parks. And now I'm going to take them more on a guided tour because now I've narrowed it down to parks. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Come see me at 434 booth and we'll go through that a little bit more, okay?
Again, appreciate everyone's participation, and we will get the vote and the results out through Rich and the team here at TMC. So thanks again for everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for the judges.